I think your analysis was very straight-lined. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing frogs.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go along that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they weren't talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD. I got that.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective, yes, but an erratic detective is Mickey Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? No, Gildarie, you deal with that. You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Gildarie, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hello, welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show with co-hosts Leonard Gildarie and Akash Prasad. A very, very happy Republic Day to you. Wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good night. If you're in Guyana, good evening to all the Republic revelers. Good evening to all of those people who celebrate the Republic this evening. It is a good thing, and that's putting it mildly, that our country as a post-colonial land no longer have the British monarchy as a symbol of statehood. So once again, we welcome Republican status. We welcome Republican Guyana. Wherever you are this evening, hope you enjoying yourself. It's not easy with the traffic on the roadways. Please don't call in because we don't have a call-in this evening. It's Republic Day, so we decide to do a different format, and we hope you enjoy the format. We will go back to our calling because our calling keeps the government, other stakeholders, and the people in touch with each other. So we don't have a call-in this evening, but we will resume our call-in format. What will happen this evening is Akash, Prasad, and I will discuss some issues that need to be elaborated on, and we need to share our views on. This is now, this will be ending 21 months of this program, and once we had Gildarie and I talking about things on our mind. So Akash and I will talk about things that we thought we need to ruminate on, we need to exchange views on, we need to comment on, but also show you a few things that we need to discuss. So this evening, Akash and I will give our opinion about things we think is important that we'd like you to know. Akash is in the studio with me, and we start with the forever icon. Forever, and that I think like Gandhi, Mandela, Martin Luther King, he will be forever in the pantheon of great people. We start with Bob Marley, and why we do that? For two reasons. One, it's Republic Day. We have thrown off the symbol of the monarchy, and no one could have berated West Indian society so consistently, so incessantly as Bob Marley in his music, that we should be a free people. His biopic, Bob Marley One Love is showing around the world. I went to see it, and I think I may go back because it's just an enticing movie to see how a great genius unfolded. Now, here are the words of the poster for the movie that Akash and I will discuss. Let me put the words of the poster up on the screen for you. Right, there are the words there. First he changed music, then he changed the world. So the topic is, how successful was he in changing the world, although he tried, when we look at the Caribbean today? Now remember, as we discuss these words, first he changed music, then he changed the world. That's the poster of the movie Bob Marley One Love. Please go and see it. It will be one of the interesting movies you will see. And for a number of reasons, but one should stand out. You are Caribbean, I am Caribbean, he is Caribbean. I lived in Canada, and when I went to serve the Maurice Bishop government, I was doing my PhD at the University of Toronto, and duty called, so I went to serve the revolutionary government of Maurice Bishop. That government fell, and the United States invaded Grenada in October 1983. And I got many, many requests to go and live elsewhere, but I couldn't. I am an educated man, and I don't think I could use my education to explain what is so unique about the Caribbean. I wouldn't live anywhere else but the Caribbean. There is just something beautiful, something inexplicable about the Caribbean. And so the first part of this discussion with Akash and I, we will discuss a Caribbean genius, Bob Marley, and the words on the film poster. First he changed music, then he changed the world. Now let's have a discussion of Marley and how did he change the world. If his influence is still there. I start with an explosive statement. You can be charged, and you will be charged, maybe except in Jamaica, for possession of more than 5 grams of marijuana. Do you know most of the white countries of the world are moving away from that? And you would not be charged for possession of 5 grams, not in many, many states in the United States, not in many, many countries in the European Union. I also think in Canada. Now, these are the white imperialist countries that Bob Marley wailed about and sang about their oppression and asked us as Caribbean people to become our own people with our own culture. Yet today in the Caribbean, you can be charged for 4 grams of marijuana. But in Colorado and in many states, imperialist countries in North America and Europe, the white people that we rally against and say enslaved us, marijuana legislation is very, 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 very liberated. So it comes to the question, and unfortunately, we should do this again and have a call in to see how you respond to that. So first he changed music, then he changed the world. Where is the influence of the iconic genius Bob Marley on today's Caribbean country? How do Caribbean people see Rastafari culture? I know I see it positively, and I know I welcome Rastafari culture as any other culture. I'm a Caribbean man. I will not frown on indigenous Caribbean cultures. But where is the Rastafari religion today in the Caribbean? How do people see Rastafarian worshippers today? So the question is, is Marley influence still in the Caribbean? Yes, he changed music and then he changed the world. But maybe the world has gone back to square one. What do you think, Akash?
Freddie, I feel so happy when I hear you talking about all of these things. As a matter of fact, when you talk about Rastafariism and Rastafaris, I feel I wish I had locks that I can shake my locks out. You know, I feel.
The proper word for it, they say do not use Rastafarianism.
Yeah.
The proper word is Rastafari.
Yes.
So it's the Rastafari worshipper or a Rastafari adherent or Rastafari religion.
Bob Marley, when Bob Marley, when Haile Selassie when Haile Selassie visited Jamaica from Ethiopia, Bob Marley was one of those persons. You know, Marcus Garvey prophesied, if I may use that word, because that's what is being shown out there, that there will be another coming of the Messiah. And many Rastafaris, including Bob Marley, believe that Haile Selassie was that person because he fit a certain personality profile that was predicted or prophesied. Now, I'm not going to go there, but what I would like to say, that if anybody in modern times came close to prophethood, it had to have been Bob Marley. Now, let me make this politically clear. I idolized Bob Marley as a young man growing up. I listened to his music, his influential music. I like the revolutionary style of the man, what he portrayed, and the way he spoke to people. To answer the question as to whether Bob Marley has the same, or whether he has an influence, that positive influence and that positive vibration that he sent out to the Caribbean people, I believe that Caribbean schools and Caribbean education system should incorporate Bob Marley, one of the most, who Edward Seaga described as the third world superstar.
I don't think Seaga knew what he was talking about. If you research Marley, Marley was a global icon.
That's what he said then. That's what he said then. But then Marley went on to become something even bigger. And I believe that Marley should be taught, the history of Marley should be taught, and his ideology, which I believe is a very, very, very good ideology. It's a good thing.
Tomorrow my article in the Chronicle is about him. And I am situating him philosophically in the pantheons of great freedom fighters. I'm putting him alongside Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Mikhail Gorbachev, Mother Teresa, Maurice Bishop.
Yeah.
And I am showing why I think Marley, without a gun in the street, trying to change the world, is in with them. That's my article for Friday in the Chronicle tomorrow. And then Saturday, I'm looking at the failure of Rastafari religion to take its mainstream place in Caribbean society. But I wanted to ask you something, and when we came here tonight, I forgot. Can you play the guitar? I have two guitars home.
I can't play the guitar. I learned to play flute, but I love to play guitar. But I love singing.
Because I wanted to, his deepest philosophical song is Redemption Songs.
If you want to sing the song, I can bring up the song track on the computer, and you can sing it.
No, that's copyright.
No. There is karaoke track that is not copyright.
But let's play Redemption Song for our viewers.
But in the meantime,
it's one of the best songs ever written. Yeah. It's one of the best songs of liberation ever sang. Redemption Song is phenomenally unparalleled.
In the meantime, though, what I want to say.
Oh, you're looking for it.
Yeah. In the meantime, what I want to say, though, Freddie, is
that person that's singing that song, I hope he's doing a good job.
Oh no! You're gonna be singing this song.
I can't sing.
We're gonna sing it together, man.
No.
Listen.
Well,
I'm going to say this.
Some people think I'm a jackass, and after singing tonight, I mean a bigger jackass.
No. Listen,
You sing.
I will sing it. I will sing it.
Old pirates came and they robbed I. Take I to the merchant ship.
Damn.
Minutes after they put us.
Viewers, I know. Tonight you're going to get a different side of Freddie.
From the bottomless pit.
But Freddie, my favorite Bob Marley song.
Oh, it's a redemption song.
Is I listen to it all the time.
No, it's redemption song.
It's when Bob Marley sang in Germany in 1979, I think. He sang the song, "Get up, stand up for your right."
I think that's a political advocacy.
Yes.
But redemption song go deep, very deep. I can't sing. If you had the guitar.
No, man, no. You have to listen. Look, just look at the look here.
Put it on the screen.
It's gonna come up there.
Put it on the screen.
Robert, pull it up. All pirates, yes, they rob I. Sold I to the merchant ships.
Minutes after they took us
from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong
by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing
these songs of freedom?
'Cause all I ever have, redemption song.
Redemption song.
Here's a nice part. Emancipate. That's coming up. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
None but ourselves can free our minds.
Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets
while we stand aside and look?
Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing
these songs of freedom?
'Cause all I ever had, redemption song. That's
redemption song.
That's one of pop music's great songs.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoy me and Freddie singing. But
oh God, you know, song terribly. That's
but you know, it's my.
I don't mind singing terribly. Singing one of the songs I love immensely.
Right, and it's MASH, and you know, it's about freedom. It's our freedom. It's our expression of freedom also on this wonderful
Let's
Republic
get that
Day.
Poster up again.
Yeah,
this man is just fantastic. He changed the world. First he changed music, then he changed the world.
Freddie,
one of the Caribbean's greatest, man.
Freddie,
one of the Caribbean's greatest.
I know for a fact that Bob Marley spoke about the use of marijuana. He advocated for it. He did it openly.
I cannot understand why.
And it is said
in the Caribbean, his influence was so phenomenal that even if the Caribbean middle class and the Caribbean political establishment said, look, we're Christians, we're Hindus, we're Muslims, we don't want Rastafari religion to become part of Caribbean society. But how could you haul people and jail them for 5 grams of have them in front of the court? Do you know, I'm going to say something about myself that I've only written once. This is true. There was a guy named Kiefer. Kiefer was a youth activist in the AFC, and Kiefer got held for 2 grams of marijuana and locked up in the Kitty police station. And if James Bond is listening to this, we called James Bond to go down to the station. And James Bond said, look, I'm a lawyer. And brace yourself for this. And viewers have to brace themselves for this. I went into the court and asked the magistrate to grant Kiefer bail. Because they had Kiefer Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the Kitty police station.
For 2 grams of cannabis.
2 grams of ganja. And Monday he went to the station, and I appeared. That was the first time in my life, and probably be the last time, I became a lawyer. I wrote about it, and she granted Kiefer 5,000 bail. When you think of Marley and what Marley achieved for the Caribbean, why Kiefer in 2018, 2017 had to be charged and spent 3 nights in the lockup for 2 grams of marijuana? They said he changed music, then he changed the world. Has he changed the world?
Exactly, because Freddie, I believe that the laws governing marijuana and marijuana usage, especially in this part, in parts of the Caribbean where we were colonized and laws were created to keep us oppressed. I believe that the laws in this country and many other Caribbean countries are archaic, and they are totally out of place in a modern world. Freddie, I always tell this, I love New York City because that's the place I go to all the time. The moment you walk, I walk in times where everybody much people got a spliff. As a matter of fact, people go there and the first thing they do, they go to these shops. It's legally being sold. There are billions and billions of dollars being made by just that industry. Now, let me first of all say this. I don't think, and I don't care who said, I don't call marijuana a drug. It's no drugs. Let's go back to a little bit of the history of this thing, and I'm sure you know this. When our foreparents came to this part of the world, it was known.
Marijuana came from India.
That's right. They brought it when they went to Jamaica, because they went to Jamaica before they came to Guyana. Our indentured laborers. When they went to Jamaica, they found the free Maroons, the Maroons in the mountains and so on, who became friends with them. They introduced the style that they brought with them, which was the Sadu lifestyle with the natty dreadlocks and all of that. They had marijuana with them. They introduced them to them. They don't eat meat and all of these kind of things. They weren't eating meat. It was a system of spirituality that was brought. Now, in other parts of the world, there are always all these things. In Central America, there is something called ayahuasca, which many people from across the world, celebrities go there because they want to have a cleanse. They want to remove this thing from their brain and all these kind of things, bad memories, and make them new. Look, there has to be control. There has to be I see last week how much $1 billion in marijuana, $1 billion born or something like that in marijuana. The laws, now I'm not saying that everybody should be walking along the road with a spliff in their hand or going in minibus and smoking. It's happening already. I think it's wrong because people need to do that in their own space and allow other people not to have to deal with it if you don't want to deal with it. But when you have 83,000 square miles in a country that has so vast rainforests and all that, why can't we cultivate? Why can't we make it? Why can't we capitalize on what is happening around the world? I think a few of the Caribbean countries has already gone into it, and it's paying dividends. We, instead of locking up a man with 1 carload of marijuana, which he make nothing, nobody make nothing, nobody. Now, I'm not advocating, I'm not telling people to go and plant marijuana. I'm just looking at the facts to say the laws needs to be changed.
Well, you know, before we go on to another topic of discussion, I look back at my life and, oh God, the regrets are so many. Do you know, I campaigned in the 2015 elections. I stood on a platform shared with Basil Williams in Paradise. And I promised those people across the road that were looking at me about the amendment to the marijuana laws. I have never lived a middle-class life. So I know people... young men who were in the jail for marijuana. The PNC, Patterson sat right here, right, and didn't apologize.
Yes,
I was apologize. Yeah, you were the co-host. To think that the PNC go into Denhamstel, go into Buxton, go into places where African Guyanese youths are and try to cajole them, you know, to confront the government, this East Indian government that has done more for African Guyanese. And they know that 99.99% of the youths in the jail for marijuana are African Guyanese. And you could imagine Clive Thomas and Rupert Rupnerine, who probably knew Marley. Thomas probably met Marley in Jamaica. These people grounded with Rastafari in Jamaica, and they came into power. Clive Thomas, you know, I see that man on a Sunday in the Starbuck News. He has a column, and you will believe what I do when I see that column. It's my job to read everything. Yeah. I don't read Clive Thomas columns.
We're back to
that. That man was part of the Rodneyite, Marleyite culture, revolutionary culture in the Caribbean, and he became a member of the government, he and Rupert Rupnerine. And while they were 5 years in government, I had to appear for Kiefer in the police station. You know, people meet me when I'm at the supermarket, when I come out, Freddie, you gone over, Freddie, you gone. I come to that thing and I said to myself, look at these jackasses. Look at these jackasses. This Indian boy, Freddie, you're the Indian, you signed him in the PPP. This Indian boy went into the magistrate court and appealed to a magistrate not to, you know, remand a black guy for marijuana.
2 grams.
When I see Clive, and I want to appeal to black people, I'm looking at the screen and appealing to black people. Do not let these betrayers of black culture, of black revolution fool you. This Indian guy stood with the Rastafari when they were picketing, when Parliament was outside, when Parliament was in the convention center. There was not one PNC or WPA leader in that picket. I wrote about this in my column. And you know, when I read that thing about Clive Thomas, when the name Rupert Rupnerine comes up, I just feel that I've wasted a big part of my life, that I was in politics with these people. Anyway, look, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. But again, Bob Marley is iconic. I think his ideology, I think his music, and I think all of that should be taught at every level of education in the Caribbean, because he is historical in every sense. He stands, as you rightly said, amongst the greats like MLK, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and yes, he was a revolutionary. And I share your passion, Freddie, that I would say that as much as whatever racial connotation,
his music was just beautiful.
It was. I'm telling you, Freddie, it borders, and I don't want to go there because a lot of people are gonna chastise me. It borders on prophetic
philosophy that holds one race superior and another. We're gonna end with
about Marley song later on.
Hope we don't get into trouble with copyright.
But I mean, we have a lot to discuss. But last thing I want to say before we go, perhaps some gratitude must be shown to the people that helped recently to remove the custodial sentencing.
Oh yes, yes. The Anil Nandalal, the PPP government. So you could get locked up for 5 grams, but there's no mandatory jail term.
That's right. There's no custodial sentencing.
And I think
we're going in the right direction.
I think I grew up in Wortmanville among black people. 4 of my siblings marry African Guyanese. And I would like to get into the mind. I would like to get into the mind of African Guyanese and say to them, why do you listen to these people? Why do you listen to the PNC leadership? Why do you read Clive Thomas' article? But I don't think black people read Clive Thomas' article. Clive Thomas is washed up. So
a lot of people hear about ghetto and all of these things, right? You hear the term ghetto. Let me tell you this here. I don't know if I mentioned this before. When I was young, I had a lot of black girlfriends, but I lived with a black woman I lived with a black woman for a number of years, and she lived in what was called ghetto, real ghetto. When I wake up in the night, gotta go to the washroom, I got to walk around people who lie down on the floor, about 50 people sometimes lie down on the floor. No, sorry, I exaggerate, but 15 to 20 people lie down on the floor sleeping. I see those people. You think those people in the ghetto wanted to be there? They don't want to be there. But many times, they don't have representation, and people write them off because, oh, yes, ghetto people. The moment you go for a job, where you from? Albaistown, Nana, you can't get us work, you on thief. Why have we been doing this to people? Why have we not been giving people the chance? Why have we not been giving our African brothers and sisters the opportunity to rise and to become who they are?
You imagine the PNC had a rally.
Exactly.
PNC had a rally at Parade Ground. And that party that was in power 2015, people actually went to the parade ground to listen to these betrayals. But let's move on. But by the way, you look like a mafia with your dad.
Yeah, well, because we're talking about Bob Marley and all these things.
Operator, can we we want to show you something on the Kingston Seawall, Fort Groin.
This is the Freddie Kissoon Show, and we are.
Yeah, let's go.
Hi, this is the Freddie Kissoon Show, and we are coming to you from the historic Fort Groin. Fort Groin is at the end of the Kingston Seawall, where Georgetown ends. Now, there seems to be an issue here, and it was brought to my attention also by Mr. Freddie Kissoon, whom you know has frequented the seawall and said that nobody knows the seawall in the world like him. Freddie, come in, please. Freddie, you have been basically living on the seawall since you were a little boy. Give me a little background on the history of Fort Groin.
Well, I am not here. It's going to take a long time to talk about the history of Fort Groin. But I want to deal with a specific issue which I have done before. If the cameraman could zoom in on that break there. You see that break there? Now, a company was bringing boulders to riprap about a year ago, and they threw the riprap there and damaged that historic piece of jetty. That jetty is part of Fort Groin, which was built by the Dutch more than 200 years ago. When they threw the boulders and broke it, since then, there's been no protection of that historic jetty, and now other companies are breaking it up. As you can see, it's being broken up. It's being broken up. Well, when you have these historic sites, you just don't let it go to waste like that. But that is what is happening to this historic piece of jetty at Fort Groin, which is a historic site. Just zoom in, cameraman, just zoom into that thing once again.
So, I think what we as a country need to do, we need to look at and protect our historical sites. All over the world, people are looking at historical sites and really placing a lot of emphasis on preservation. And I think this is what Freddie's proposing, that Fort Groin, which used to be a Dutch fort right here, and that jet used to be part of Fort Groin, is very historic. It's over 200 years old, and I believe that, yes, there are many other sites across the country that needs protection, and we are going to advocate for this. Again, thank you for joining us. This is the Freddie Kissoon Show, and we are on the ground, Ground Zero reporting. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, Akash, all they have to do, when we showed it about 15 months ago on this program, all they had to do was put a protective barrier. There is absolutely no reason why you would have a fort built by the Dutch 200 years ago and you would want it to be destroyed. You just do not treat historical sites like that. And all they had to do, whatever authority, whatever ministry, is encircle it so people could go and visit it and see it. I think the thing is being eroded because the base has been broken.
Freddie, there was a. I have to find out whether it's still there. Do you know there was a wreck of a boat in Legwan that brought in? That's one of the last boats to bring in indentured laborers from India. There was a wreck in leg one. That should have been protected because
that boat brought
yes, there was a wreck. There was a wreck there of not the first set of boats that brought them, but there was one of those boats that came after, later on, and the wreck was on the beach of the leg one, of the island of leg one. I'm not sure if it's there. I'm gonna have to reach out to people.
I went to leg one
and find out if it's
5 years ago.
Yeah,
but of course I didn't look to see.
You know what bothered me about this? You know what bothers me a lot about this video too, Freddie? Look, the destruction of Fort Groin and all of that. But while we're filming this thing, 2 plastic bottles in the water, in the waves. Freddie Kissoon, look at what we have done to our seawall when it comes to garbage. You're there every day. Look at what we've done.
Well, the First Lady, I don't know, we took some shots of the fantastic efforts of the First Lady in rehabilitating the seawall, and it looks damn attractive. It looks beautiful. I don't know if our cameraman can hear me, if we have a clip of the First Lady's effort at the seawall, but the seawall has come a long way because of her intervention. It looks very, very, very good now. It's unfortunate we don't have. We did. I don't know if our cameraman.
I will get it. I don't know if Robert can. I will get it. I will get it.
If Robert can hear, you will get it. Yeah. We did take a few shots of what, but I guess we did not cue that up. But that is what is happening to Fort Groin. If you have just seen the part that is broken, and it's deteriorating. One contractor responding to my telephone call sent his workmen, he had broken it, and he sent his workmen and they repaired it. I can't remember his name. It may be not the owner of the construction company. I think it's not. That man sent his workers and they repaired that jetty. But that is what it is. I don't think we can find the clip of the First Lady's majestic work on the seawall. But if you haven't been to the seawall recently, please go by the bandstand. The First Lady has etched her name in the cultural history of this country. She's done fantastic work rehabilitating the seawall. Do you have anything?
I'm getting images of the Esplanade, Freddie. But again, as I alluded to just now, is that we have to change our culture when it comes to these this thing with we got 2 more discussions.
Yeah. We got 2 more discussions. Let's play a clip from our guest, John Mayer, who was born in Guyana to English parents, an Englishman and a Guyanese Caucasian woman, and has spent over 40 years in journalism in the UK and has been back to Guyana doing work in the area of journalism. We interviewed him on Wednesday evening, and he said 2 things that we think you need to hear, and we will discuss that for the rest of the program. Listen to what he had to say about the people who criticizing the government because we have an oil industry. Could you cue that up?
The anti-oil tendency is interesting in this country because it is by and large bourgeois. You say it's bourgeois,
of course.
But by and large bourgeois.
You call them the Mensheviks.
It's by and large comfortable bourgeois, and they're Mensheviks.
Let me play it back one more time for the viewers.
The anti-oil tendency is interesting in this country because it is by and large bourgeois. You say it's bourgeois,
of course.
But by and large bourgeois.
You call them the Mensheviks.
It's by and large comfortable bourgeois, and they're Mensheviks.
He said they're comfortable bourgeois. Now, in case you don't know, or familiar, you're pretty young and you don't know what bourgeois means. It's a wealthy class. And this is something all Guyanese must know, should know, and have to know. There's a group of people that are very wealthy. You call these people the anti-oil lobby. And these people don't want us to continue in the oil industry because they say it destroys the climate. There are a lot of them live in countries that have become fantastically ultra-modern because of the oil industry. They live in countries where the oil industry is thriving, and they come here and they're in Guyana and they tell us the oil industry is bad for the climate. And John Mayer said he's no PPP member. He's no big supporter of the government. The man lives outside and he comes to Guyana once a year. But he's a very educated man. And he said, look, who are these people criticizing the oil industry? They're all bourgeois people. Now let's look at some of the people who want us to come out of the oil industry. On the 17th of November 2022, 42 of them signed a letter saying it's bad, the oil industry is bad for the climate, and Guyana should immediately come out of it. There are two sisters from the Vera family, Danuta and Vanda Razik Vera. The Vera family is one of the richest families in Guyana. In the 30s and 40s and 50s, the Vera family owned Houston and owned Versailles. Huge estates that the Vera families owned. I have known Danuta and Vanda since I was in my 20s. I can't speak with authority, but I've known them a long time. I know they're from the rich Vera family. And I can't recall Vanda and Danuta having, jobs, being employed. Maybe they never were because of their background, but I can't remember. When you call well-known names in Guyana, this person was an engineer, that person was a university lecturer, that person was a public servant, that person was a doctor. I can't remember seeing Vanda Razik Vera and Danuta Razik Vera being employed. I may be wrong, and I apologize, but I'd like the information. They signed, those two Vera sisters, coming from one of the wealthiest family, signed a letter asking Guyana to get out of the oil industry. Professor Clive Thomas is no fan of the PPP government, and he said, in the coming years, the amount of money coming in from the oil industry will be so much the government would not know how to use it. He used the word class inhumanity to describe people who are calling on us to come out of the oil industry. He says income from the oil industry will help to eradicate poverty. I'm not critical, I'm not being critical tonight of Christopher Ram. But Christopher Ram is one of them who writes critically of the oil industry. And I saw in the paper, this man turned in the sod for a $700 million headquarters of his. $700 million headquarter. When you go out of the oil industry, where is the replacement? And that explains why John May called them bourgeois. They're more than bourgeois, they're ultra bourgeois. And we finally will take off because we got a guaranteed income from a resource. And these people want us to come out. Before I move away from that, note this evening, note it and go and check it. They are advertisement, full page advertisement against the oil industry in the Starbuck News, and it has no ownership. No one knows who's putting these advertisements in the papers. Whole page advertisement that costs $300,000 for, no, I think it may be more. I think it may be around $400 for a full page ad.
Set the spread.
So this thing has no ownership. Now, why do you think these advertisements against the oil industry would have no ownership because they're ashamed for people to know who they are, and people will confront them in the streets and in the cocktail circuit and say, why you are against the oil industry? It's bringing in money for a poor country. So after tonight, go last week and look at the Starbucks News, and you will see these large advertisements that have no ownership. Let's go on. Let's stick again with John Mayer and what he had to say about social media. I don't agree with what he had to say about social media and Akash. So we will end our program with that discussion on social media. Akash, could we play John Mayer?
It's an absolute sewer, you know, and it's an unregulated sewer. And my advice to people, we don't go into it, frankly. I mean, I don't really have a Facebook account. I don't have many other things because some of it is such nonsense. You know, if you read the comments.
Okay, I have, my reaction to Facebook has been to make an analogy to a cutlass, where a cutlass is an important agricultural instrument, but it has killed hundreds of people. But over to Akash and his take on social media. Social media can be good and bad.
A few years ago, an entire government was toppled in the Middle East area.
Egypt, yeah.
Egypt was toppled because of reactions on social media and a revolution that started on social media. That says how the power of social media. That tells of the power of social media. It is important to understand that if you were going to meet the masses today, look, I worked in the newspaper industry for a number of years. I think it was 17 years I was in newspaper. And I can tell you, social media has been the decline, has been the cause of the decline in the sales of newspaper. Social media has power to change not only countries and people, but people's lives and people's way of thinking. And also it has the power to influence people. The question has to be asked, how are we going to be influencing people? What role are you taking on in the social media stratosphere to influence people? I live a daily life and I take care of myself and my bills and my expenses and my travels and everything around me because of social media. There is nothing else that pays me but social media. Social media is what pays me. I do advertising for people to put on their Facebook page. I create ads. I do shows. All of these things, and all of this is happening because of social media. Now, I also understand what Mr. John Mayer said, that it's an absolute sewer. It can be an absolute sewer if you lower yourself where the sewer runs. When I say lower yourself, I don't mean lower yourself personally or whatever the case may be. But what I mean is that if you go to where only that flows, then absolutely you're going to be tainted. There is right now, Freddie, Guyana has the biggest bacchanal you could think about going on social media. Bacchanal from bacchanal. Let me tell you this. There was a mock funeral being held on social media for another person who's deemed a social influencer that lives in New York. The same day I went to the oil and gas conference. While that oil and gas conference was going on, there were 10,000 people watching this mock funeral on social media, on Facebook. 10,000 people. Now, I'm saying, why didn't we did we pay attention to what was happening at the oil and gas expo? Did we decide to go there? Because that has potential to change our lives. Now, all the social media people that we know of, positive social media people and so on, and many others, including big companies that push their content through social media, were there. They were there at the other. I saw them, many of them met with me, had a chat, how is it going and all of that. Then they come home and you see this thing happening. And I asked myself, Mr. Kissoon, are we going to, this is the sewer that Mr. John Mayer referred to. But are we going to allow ourselves, are we going to lower ourselves from a rope into where the sewer is?
I think...
Or are we going to stay on the positive influence?
I think the mistake he made, I could understand his emotional revulsion when you go on social media. But I think the mistake he made is not to say social media can be an avenue for change, for learning, for spreading of knowledge, but it also can lead you to the gutter. Because I'll tell you what social media has done. What social media has done has been priceless the past 2 years in relation to 2 incidents. The Israeli invasion of Gaza and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now, if you read every major Western newspaper and every major Western television newscast, Russia has been defeated. Russian soldiers are dying like flies. Ukraine has taken the fight to Russia. And the war is going on 3 years now.
That's right.
And nobody explains on the Western media, why did this country go into Ukraine? United States went into Afghanistan, went into Iraq, the West went into Libya. But why Russia didn't do these things and then it went into its neighbor's territory? But when you go on social media, fantastic professors, brilliant professors from around the world explain the Russian reason for Ukraine, that United States and Europe were pushing the expansion of NATO, pushing Ukraine to be, a NATO power, so NATO could sit alongside Russia. You go to social media and there are brilliant discussions among academics about the Israeli, what they want to achieve with this war, what they have failed in the war. For example, Akash, Israel has a fantastic Air Force. And this Air Force, since October the 8th, the invasion of Israel and the wrongfully killing of Israeli civilians occurred on October the 7th. Shortly after that, they start to bomb Gaza. This Air Force and the way the Western press is carrying it, this whole thing is a myth. These people, this fantastic Air Force is not fighting a war. Guess what this Air Force is doing? It's flying and seeing buildings, and the missiles are destroying buildings. There's no body carrying the fight to Israel. There's no there's no naval warfare. There's no fight in the skies. It's just a piece of land, and Palestinians live there, and they are bombing. And guess what? When they bomb and then they put the soldiers on the ground, the Western press is not telling us that they haven't found Hamas.
No.
It's 4 months and they haven't found in this small place where the hostages are. So you've been bombing this place for 4 months. You send in tanks and you cannot fight Hamas and reclaim the hostages. That's because all they know is to bomb buildings. When you go to social media, these professors, Jeffrey Sachs, Scott Ridley, are explaining these things. For example, you hear Hezbollah fired missiles in northern Israel, and then what comes from the Western press is Israeli Defense Force says 27 Hezbollah was killed, 2 Israeli soldiers were killed. But that is a statement coming from the Israeli army,
That's right, exactly.
which you see in CNN, which you see in Le Monde, which you see in the British newspapers and European newspapers. But his bullet statement saying we in fact killed 14 Israeli soldiers, you will never get that.
Contradicts.
Now, how do you know that? How do you know what is happening? Go to social media and you see these professors in brilliant ways analyzing the Ukrainian war, analyzing the failure of Israel and hyping up their military prowess. In that respect, social media is priceless.
Let me give you an analysis here. This show, the Freddie Kissoon Show, Gildarie, and the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon Show, which I'm now a part of. This show, and I say this without any fear.
Please don't praise me. I don't.
No. Me praising you. I'm telling you, the show has become the #1 talk show in this country. I know that for a fact. This show has been running successfully for 21 months. We're in the 21st month now.
We finish that next week.
Right. Well, so, and very soon it's going to be 2 years for the show. The survival of this show is because of the influence of social media. Let us also look at the platform in which we sit on. The Guyanese Critic platform has across Facebook, which is Guyanese Critic, Daybreak News, and YouTube has over 600,000 people following. Now, I worked in newspaper, and Freddie Kissoon, I can tell you, some days the newspapers struggle to sell the papers out there.
Culture don't sell. Every day is oil. Which same human being can buy a paper every day to see oil? People want.
It's an obsession, Freddie. That's an obsession, I believe.
I think the man is a monkey.
Well, look, let me tell you though, but what social media has done, social media has made the world a small place. Social media has brought things to our attention, has brought people, has brought situations, has brought beautiful things. Like for instance, somebody, your relative there in New York, and they're taking a drink and in Queens with the other family and says, hey, let me call up Balraj, and you call up Balraj, we're going down by, watch that by this, and everybody talking live. You say, bring out your drink, and you're taking an e-drink with your partner in America, you take your drink here, and it's happening in real time.
But they are lonely people that use their Facebook to stay alive. They call their cousins.
Yes.
Your children are gone. Your spouse has died, and you're living in your apartment. You can talk to your daughter in France. You could talk to your son in Jamaica, and it keeps you alive. The point about social media is like a cutlass. This cutlass is going to be taken to weed a certain part of an agricultural plot. And then it's going to be taken by a drunk man and chop people. It's what you put.
Exactly.
You can abuse love. And on the other hand, love can save the world. So I think John didn't get it right there.
And I think John, because he's he's cultured in a certain society in Britain where people are a little bit more open about things in everyday life. So you probably don't need social media to do that. But let me tell you something else about social media too, Freddie. If I have a bottle of water to sell, this bottle of water, and by the way, guys, we drink Blue Spring water in the studios. You can support them. They've been supporting us. But if I have to advertise this bottle of water, it is easier for me to target my market on social media because I can then go to my phone and choose geographic and biographics as to where I want my ad to be. I can choose the age of the people that I want to see my advertisement. What social media, what Facebook and social media does, they send it out to those persons. You have so many millions of people on all of these apps. We have to make use of them. But I believe that what we are doing here, let's use it for positive influence.
I'm telling you, if you want to know what's happening in the Gaza, go to those podcasts of those professors, and they will show you what is Israel's intention. They will show you how the European countries have their narrow reason for tolerating genocide and their insensitivity to genocide. But Akash, I'm looking at my Mango Pelto.
We have a nice song queued up here to play. It's a cover by Bob Marley. It's one of we played Redemption Song, which is your favorite. I want to play. This one is Get Up, Stand Up, one of my and the Heathen by the Berkeley Ensemble. It's a cover, but they did. We cannot. I mean, I wish
that's
we can
one.
play.
That's one of That's one of his songs of liberation.
That's right. Yes.
And in every protests around the world, people play it.
We're not encouraging protests or anything here, but it's just iconic, and I love it. It's Republic Day, it's MASH Day, so allow us to play this. As I said, the only reason we're not playing Bob Marley's original music is because of copyright infringement. So let's close off with this wonderful.
Before we close off, we will close off with the song. Let's just play a few minutes of the song before we close off.
Yes.
Let's close off by wishing people a happy Republic. What's happening there? What's happening there? Huh? No, it should have been on the screen. It should be on the screen. No, it should be on the screen. Huh?
My bad.
What?
Was my bad.
Don't give up the fight. Yo, preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. Is it all that glitters is gold? Half the story has never been told, and now you see the light.
You stand up for
your right. Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Go, go, go. You're sick and tired of your ism, schism, game. Time to go to heaven in Jesus' name.
Move that.
We know where we are.
All right.
Well, sorry about that. It should have been on as soon as we played. That little technical mistake. Listen, thanks for being with us. We didn't have a call in tonight because we felt of this evening as Republic and we should do something different. Our operator signaled that we have to go. But is there anything you want to say, Akash, before we do the final conclusion?
Definitely. I just want to say to everyone, all our Guyanese brothers and sisters, everyone out there, one love, one heart. You know, let's live together in unity. We are all Guyanese together. Let's put our differences aside. This is our cry here at this on this show tonight to say we implore everyone for unity. Let's come together. Together we can achieve great things. Together we can make this world a better place. Together we can enjoy this country as a better place. Let's look for the opportunities. Let's make the best we can of our lives, and let's be the best Guyanese. Go out, you know, I love MASH Day because when you look at MASH Day and out there, there is no Indo-Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese or anything like that. It's all Guyanese reveling, drinking, having a beer, eating some food, whatever, you're reveling together. Let's live MASH. Let's live like Pagua when everybody get the powder on their hair and their face and so on. You don't know who is who. Let this be the lives of all Guyanese. This is my cry, and this is what I would like to see from my Guyana. Freddie.
Okay. We will be here on Monday. We should have an iconic Guyanese as our guest, someone you need to show some respect and admiration to because of the seminal role he has played in the tradition of the fight for democracy. We'll hope to have him here on Monday, and then we will see you on Wednesday. We will resume our call-in. I haven't heard from Gildarie, but I hope he's doing all right in the US. Akash has been very, very good to us in helping to co-host the program, and I can assure you that he will be a fixture on the Freddie Kissoon show. Thanks for being with us. Drive carefully tonight. Do not overdo it. We have too much road accident. And enjoy the music this evening wherever you are of your own culture, because as Shakespeare say, if music be the food of love, play on, give me excess of it. Bye-bye, catch you later.